Disney films accounted for nearly 40% of the U.S. box office in the first 9 months of 2019.
Disney films accounted for nearly 40% of the U.S. box office in the first 9 months of 2019.
Disney films accounted for nearly 40% of the U.S. box office in the first 9 months of 2019. Disney films accounted for nearly 14% of the U.S. box office in the first 9 months of 2019. Disney's films accounted for nearly 40% of the U.S. box office in the first 9 months of 2019.
Disney has been a box office behemoth for the last 5 years, setting and then smashing its own records in the film industry over and over again. It stands to do that again this year.
Disney has been a box office behemoth for the last 5 years, setting and then smashing its own records in the film industry over and over again. It stands to do that again this year. Behemoth. Disney has been a box office behemoth for the last 5 years, setting and then smashing its own records in the film industry over and over again. It stands to do that again this year.
While the film industry as a whole will struggle to reach last year's $11.9 billion ticket sales record,
While the film industry as a whole will struggle to reach last year's $11.1 billion ticket sales record, while the film industry as a whole will struggle to reach last year's $11.9 billion ticket sales record, while the film industry as a whole will struggle to reach last year's $11.9 billion ticket sales record,
Disney has already blasted past its best global sales mark and is inching closer to surpassing its domestic top.
Disney has already blasted past its best global sales mark and is inching closer to surpassing its domestic top. Disney has already blasted past its best global sales mark and is inching closer to surpassing its domestic top.
So far in 2019, Disney films have sold more than $8.1 billion in tickets, decimating its previous record of $7.6 billion global.
So far in 2019, Disney films have sold more than $8.1 billion in tickets, decimating its previous record of $7.6 billion globally. So far in 2019, Disney films have sold more than $8.1 billion in tickets, decimating its previous record $7.6 billion globally.
Adding the recently acquired Fox to the mix, Disney held nearly 40% of the box office gross.
Adding the recent acquired Fox to the mix, Disney held nearly 40% of the box office gross. Adding the recent acquired Fox to the mix, Disney held nearly 40 of the box office gross, held nearly 40% of the box office gross, held nearly 40% of the box office gross.
Of course, with 3 months left in the year, that figure is going to shift. Paul Dirk.
Of course, with 3 months left in the year, that figure is going to shift. Of course, with 3 months left in the year, that figure is going to shift.
Arbedian, senior media analyst at Comscore, expects Disney will likely retain at least 30% of box office receipts by the end of 2019.
Paul Dagrabadian, senior media analyst at Comscore, expects Disney will likely retain at least 30% of box office receipts by the end of 2019. Paul Dagrabadian, senior media analyst at Comscore, expects Disney will likely retain at least 30% of box office receipts by the end of 2019.
By comparison, Disney accounted for 26.3% of all U.S. ticket sales in 2018.
By comparison, Disney accounted for 26.3% of all U.S. ticket sales in 2018. By comparison, Disney accounted for 26.3% of all U.S. ticket sales in 2018.
It also holds 5 of the top 6 spots on the list of highest-grossing films in 2019. Those 5 films, Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, Toy Story 4, Captain Marvel, and Aladdin, have all sold over $1 billion in tickets globally.
Disney also holds 5 of the top 6 spots on the list of highest-grossing films in 2019. Those 5 films, Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, Toy Story 4, Captain Marvel, and Aladdin, have all sold over 1 billion in tickets globally. Disney also holds 5 of the top 6 spots on the list of highest-grossing films in 2019. Those 5 films, Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, The Story 4, Captain Marvel, and Aladdin, have all sold over $1 billion in tickets globally. On its own, Avengers Endgame took in $858.3 million during its U.S. run, accounting for 10% of the box office between January and September. On its own, Avengers Endgame took in $858.3 million during its U.S. run, accounting for 10% of the box office between January and September. On its own, Avengers Endgame took in $858.3 million during its U.S. run, accounting for 10% of the box office between January and September. Spider-Man: Far From Home was the only film in the top 6 that was not distributed by Disney. However, Disney-owned Marvel Studios helped produce the film alongside Sony. Spider-Man: Far From Home was the only film in the top 6 that was not distributed by Disney. However, Disney-owned Marvel Studios helped produce the film alongside Sony. Spider-Man Far From Home was the only film in the top 6 that was not distributed by Disney. However, Disney-owned Marvel Studios helped produce the film alongside Sony.
Disney films
accounted
for
nearly 40% of the US box office in the first 9 months of 2019.
Disney
has been a box office behemoth of the last 5 years, setting and then smashing its own records in the film industry over and over again. It stands to do that again this year. While the film industry as a whole will struggle to reach last year's $11.8 billion ticket sales record, Disney has already blasted past its best global sales mark and is inching closer to surpassing its domestic top.
So far in 2019, Disney films have sold more than $8.1 billion in tickets,
decimating its previous record of $7.6 billion globally. Adding the recently acquired Fox to the mix, Disney held nearly 40% of the box office growth. Of course, with 3 months left in the year, that figure is going to shift. Paul Duggar,
senior media
analyst at Comscore, expects Disney will likely retain at least 30% of box office receipts by the end of 2019. By comparison, Disney accounted for 26.3% of all US ticket sales in 2018.
Disney also holds five spots on the list of highest
gross films in 2019. Those 5 films: Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, Toy Story 4, Captain Marvel, and Aladdin have all sold over $1 billion in tickets globally. On its own, Avengers Endgame took in $858.3 million during its US run, accounting for 10% of the box office between January and September. Spider-Man Far From Home was the only film in the top 6 that was not distributed by Disney. However, Disney-owned Marvel Studios helped produce the film alongside Sony. Disney films accounted for nearly 40% of the US box office in the first 9 months of 2019. Disney films accounted for nearly 40%.
Disney films accounted for nearly 40% of the US box office in the first 9 months of
Disney films accounted for nearly 40% of the US box office in the first 9 months of 2019. Account for 数量上比例上占 The Japanese market accounts for 35% of the company's revenue. The Japanese market accounts for 35% of the company's revenue. 其他意思解释说明是什么什么的原因。How do you account for the show's success? The poor weather may have accounted for the small crowd. The poor weather may have accounted for the small crowd. 解释说明 account for 占什么样的比例。Disney has been a box office behemoth for the last 5 years, setting and then smashing its own records in the film industry over and over again. It stands to do that again this year. Behemoth 庞然大物，有指规模庞大的机构。A trade behemoth that shipped abroad $800 billion worth of goods. A trade behemoth that shipped abroad $800 billion worth of goods. 向国外运输了价值8000亿美元货物的贸易巨头。Giant 同义词。Smash 打破使结束。Smash a record 打破纪录。The film smashed all box office records. Break 近义词，打碎猛烈撞击。Crash He smashed the radio to pieces. Her car smashed into a tree. Stand 很可能 stand to do something 很可能做某事。You stand to make a lot of from its deal. You stand to make a lot of from its deal. Stand. Break. Smash the radio to pieces. Smash. Behemoth. While the film industry as a whole will struggle to reach last year's $11.9 billion ticket sales record, Disney has already blasted past its best global sales mark and is inching closer to surpassing its domestic top. While the film industry as a whole will struggle to reach last year's $11.9 billion ticket sales record, Disney has already blasted its best global sales mark and is inching closer to surpassing its domestic top. Blast 疾驰爆炸，把什么什么炸成碎片，严厉抨击，严厉批评，猛烈抨击，严厉批评。Blast down the ski slope，猛冲下雪坡。近义词 dash。Blast dash。爆炸 They had to blast a tunnel through the mountain. His movie was blasted by all the critics. Mark 水平标准点指标 Unemployment has passed the 4 million mark. 水平标准点指标 Inch 缓慢移动。Inch something adverb edge out 慢慢超过。I inched forward along the ground. He inched his way through the narrow passage. I inched forward along the ground. He inched his way through the narrow passage. Surpass 超过。Surpass exceed surpass somebody something, surpass oneself. He had surpassed all our expectations. He has surpassed all our expectations. Surpassing 出色的卓越的。A picture of surpassing beauty. A picture of surpassing beauty. Outstanding outdo exceed outstanding surpass 出色的卓越的 outstanding outdo exceeding. While the film industry as a whole will struggle to reach last year's $11.9 billion ticket sales record, Disney has already blasted past its best global sales mark and is inching closer to surpassing its domestic top. Surpassing inch mark blast 疾驰。While 引导表转折的条件状语从句 ，the film industry 是从句主语。As a whole 是介宾短语做后置定语。谓语 will struggle to reach sales record 是动词不定式做宾语。主语是 Disney， 谓语是 has already blasted 和 is inching closer。Past its sales mark 和 to surpassing its domestic top 都是介宾短语做补语。So far in 2019, Disney films have sold more than 8.1 billion in tickets, decimating its previous record of $7.6 billion globally. Cheap imports decimated the British cycle industry. Cheap imports decimated the British cycle industry. Smash, break, decimate. Blast, dash. Adding the recent acquired Fox to the mix, Disney held nearly 40% of the box office gross. Acquire 购得得到 acquisition 收购 The company has just acquired new premises. The company has just acquired premises. Acquisition 收购 and mergers and acquisitions 并购 mergers and acquisitions add to the mix 把什么什么包含进来，把什么什么加上。He has added a second actor to the mix. Gross 毛收入总收入。Total the box office grosses mounted 其他是以毛的总的 gross 还有动词的意思，总收入 gross weight gross profit 毛重毛利 gross weight gross profit rough total acquire adding the recent acquired Fox to the mix. Disney held nearly 40% of the box office gross. Of course, with 3 months left in the year, that figure is going to shift. Paul Dagribadian, senior media analyst at Comscore, expects Disney will likely retain at least 30% of box office receipts by the end of 2019. Shift 改变。Public attitudes towards marriage have shifted over the past 50 years. Change 近义词 change 轮班倒班 be on the day-night shift 上日班夜班 early late shift work do an 8-hour shift 每班8小时轮班工作 work do an 8-hour shift I work shifts retain 继续拥有保留 The house retains much of its original charm. Preserve The house retains much of its original charm. Preserve Receipt 收入 Net gross receipt 净收入总收入 Invoice 发票 Invoice takings 票房收入收据收条Receipt net gross receipt. Paul Dagrabadian, senior media analysis at Comscore, expects Disney will likely retain at least 30% of the box office receipts by the end of 2019. 句子主语是 Paul Dagrabadian, senior media analyst at Comscore 是插入语做同位语，谓语是 expects 后接的省略 that 的宾语从句，从句主语是 Disney， 谓语是 will likely retain 宾语是核心部分是 30% of box office receipt at least 是副词短语表程度 by the end of 2019 是介宾短语做状语。By comparison, Disney accounted for 26.3% of all U.S. ticket sales in 2018. By comparison, Disney accounted for 26.3% of all U.S. ticket sales in 2018. Disney also holds 5 of the top 6 spots on the list of highest grossing films in 2019. Those five films: Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, Toy Story 4, Captain Marvel, and Aladdin have all sold over 1 billion in tickets globally. Spot 在排序表比赛中的名次位置。Manchester United are still in the top spot after today's win. Position 近义词 position spot 斑点场地场所tourist spot 旅游景点 Which has spots the leopard or the tiger? Which has spots 是斑点景点场所 position spot On its own 单独独自 On its own on one's own Avengers Endgame took in $855.3 million during its U.S. run, accounting for 10% of the box office between January and September. on one's own 单独独自 she lives on her own 她一个人生活 take in 收记传记 take something in take in something on its first day of trading the shop took in 1.6 million rubles. On its first day of trading, the shop took in 1 million rubles. Spider-Man Far From Home was the only film in the top 6 that was not distributed by Disney. However, Disney-owned Marvel Studios helped produce the film alongside Sony. Alongside 与什么什么在一起 Charlie spent a week working alongside the miners. Alongside, taking on one's own. Spot 名词位置 spot 斑点场所 takings invoice receipt 收入 receipt 收据收条 receipt retain shift 改变轮班 gross 总的 total 总收入 acquisition acquire max mergers and acquisition M&A decimate smash break outstanding surpassing 出色的卓越的 inch edge 徐徐移动 blast 猛冲 dash 炸毁炸成碎片猛 blast standing smash break behemoth account for